Yo, 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 what's up? Welcome to our first live stream episode of Banished by Blaze. I am your host, Jenny Blaze, and we are here to go through the Traitors US Season 3, Episode 7, Till Death Do Us Part. The episode description is: the traitors must murder face to face in the most dramatic send off the castle has ever seen. Whoa. Before we end, we'll identify the person we think should be banished immediately based on what we've seen and how we, when I say we, I mean me, but collectively, how we would play if we were on the cast. If you're in the chat, drop a comment with who you think should be banished next. Before we get into it, we have some disclaimers. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Everything said is alleged. There's no fact checking. This is not journalism. This is for entertainment purposes only, like I said. And since these are real people we are discussing, I think it's important to be extremely clear that we do not condone bullying of any kind. While we may have some opinions and speak our minds in this contained space, we will never wish harm to anyone IRL. That means in real life for anyone who doesn't know. Oh, I don't know. This is like the Traitors has a wide variety of fandoms, and that's part of what I love about this show. Also, if you do not want spoilers, this is not the place for you. Be gone. You shall be banished immediately. Let's get into it. Okay. First, we're going to go through the list of murders and banishments that we've seen in the first 6 episodes. I want to make this bigger because here we go. Here's the full cast of season 3. And as we know, we've had a lot of murders and banishments. So let's go through them. By the way, what's up, Max? I see you in the chat. And I also hope it's not Sierra tonight. We will get to who is up for murder, but let's go through since the beginning. Dorinda Medley, our Dorinda, she made it nice for the one episode she was on, but she got murdered first, and that was very sad. But I'm glad she got a little bit worked up, on the first episode. So we got to see a little bit. After Dorinda was murdered, Wells Adams was banished. I really don't know who he is, but apparently he's married to the girl from Modern Family, Sarah. I didn't know that until this show. Next, Chanel Ayan was murdered. Oh, so sad. So sad. I want her there just for the looks, the camp. She is camp. They made a mistake. Big mistake. Huge mistake. After Chanel was murdered, Tony was banished. I feel like he did this to himself, but also, like, why was he so hung up on Boston Rob? Like, he literally cried as he walked away. It's a little extreme, I feel like. Tony's gone. They then murdered Jeremy Collins. I think that was a good move because I heard Jeremy is a pretty good gamer. By the way, if this is your first time here, I get so annoyed by this term gamer, even though I think I probably am a gamer, but I just don't like how they use that term on the show and how they use it as part of their strategy and alliances. Like, it just irks me. It makes me want to become a gamer, quote unquote gamer, so that I can play a game against these gamers and school them. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I said it, Luann. So at one point, I guess after Jeremy was was it after Jeremy was murdered? I think it was before Jeremy was murdered. Wes, Derek, and Boston Rob they joined the game, and Boston Rob obviously was a traitor. So he got his fellow traitor, Bob the drag queen, out in a banishment. It was a lot. It was a lot. Max said being a housewife is a game too. I agree with that to a certain extent, but they don't consider housewives gamers. And if we have to categorize it, I kind of agree. Like, they can still game and be gamers, but the way that the gamers use that term just, it's annoying. All right, let's move on. Robin was murdered. I don't think anyone cared. I don't think anyone really noticed. I forgot she was even there, even though she did a lot while she was there at the round tables. She was off, way off every time, but she was so adamant. So, yeah, I'm kind of glad she's gone. Robin. Boo, Robin. I hate that the Bravo representation this season is just not great at all. But anyways, next up, Nikki Garcia was banished. That was sad. People were crying. All because they randomly put her in one of the coffins when they had to pick they had to pick 3 people to put in the coffins, and they wanted to get Jeremy out, and they threw Sierra and Nikki in for distraction. Oh man. Then Bob Harper was murdered because he was on to Boston Rob. Then we had Wes banished. He did that to himself because if he didn't say, if I make it, I'm coming for you. Like, it doesn't even make sense to say that as a faithful. So Wes, major flop, just like House of Villains, begging and pleading on his knees and still losing. Oh my gosh, Wes, I'm embarrassed for you. Okay, that's where we are. Wes was banished, and we go to the turret. We have our 3 traitors, Danielle, Boston Rob, and Carolyn. This turret, they just clearly do not trust each other at all, because Caroline and Danielle were going at each other. In the last turret, Boston Rob, he didn't even know what to do. He's like, I am basically on my own. They can't agree on who to kill. It's between Derek, Sam, Dylan, and Sierra. Hold on, do I have those people? Yep, Derek's up for murder. Sam, Dylan, and Sierra. I mean, what does Max say? Boston Rob had a big ego, too early to banish their own traitor. Yeah, I agree. Boston Rob, he did that because, I mean, if I see Boston Rob, I'm going to go for him first. So I think he could sense from Bob the drag queen that he wasn't really feeling Boston Rob joining the game as a traitor. He played along, but then as soon as Bob the drag queen showed any sign of like traitorous behavior, he went after him. But Dylan was also already onto him, so I don't know. Everyone's making Boston Rob out to be like this huge legend and blah, blah, blah. I feel like he played a very basic game, just saying. So these are the 4 up for murder. Let's go to breakfast. Brittany comes in. Brittany's safe. Ivor. No one even knows that Ivor's playing the game. Danielle, obviously. She's a traitor. Danielle is so extra playing this game, like acting and stuff. Chriselle is safe. Dolores is safe. Gabby is safe. I really like Gabby. Gabby didn't realize that Ivor was there. She was like, I don't know. I don't know about Ivor. He's like, yeah, well, I'm not dead. She's like, oh my God. She's funny on social media too, Gabby. I need to catch up on all her content. Obviously, we have Carolyn. Is it Carolyn or Caroline? Let me know in the comments. Tom Sandoval in his Bravo and Blaze red tracksuit. I just know that he was thinking about me when he picked out that outfit. He is the ultimate troll. I trolled him so hard, so now he's trolling me back on my favorite show. But you know what? I just posted about Tom Sandoval today. I'm not mad at him anymore. People on the live stream. Wait, the podcast listeners can't see this, but I am currently holding up one of my cardboard cutouts of Tom Sandoval. He's the same age as me. Who looks younger? It's very important. Yeah, I'm not hating on Tom Sandoval anymore. I like the hatred that the peak hatred of Tom Sandoval during Scandoval has dissipated. And I think I realized that watching Chriselle come after Tom so hard because I'm like, okay, we get it. I mean, this doesn't mean that we will ever trust him, but he knows. He knows. We all hate him. So Tom comes into breakfast. Sam has been very low key, by the way. He's starting to step up a little bit, which I think is good gameplay. Sierra, thank God. I really want Sierra to go to the end. Also, Summer House season 9 premiered last night. Paige asked Sierra about the Traitors. Sierra said that she wasn't allowed to go on social media. She only got 30 minutes of cell phone time, and she was only allowed to check text messages. And I don't know how long. I think they were asking, but like they're not allowed to say. Sierra, please. I want Sierra to win. Rob comes in. Oh yeah, they're setting me up. They're trying to frame me. Shut up, Rob. Shut up with your basic moves. Basic. It's giving Dan Giesling, who I interviewed, by the way, last season. I need to put a link in the show notes, which I will do after. But you can find that on YouTube and on Bravo and Blaze with Jenny Blaze for podcast listeners. Dylan comes in. Dylan. That means it was Derek who was murdered. And so back in the turret, they show Danielle saying, okay, I will give up Derek. She didn't want to kill Derek because they have like this allegiance, not an alliance, but like an allegiance kind of. It's like a loose alliance where people just like each other. They don't want to go after each other. I think because they were both on Big Brother. Is that why? I don't even know what shows they came from. But she's like, all right, I'll give you Derek if we can start fresh and start working together, blah, blah, blah. Plus, I mean, yeah, I would have, if I was a traitor, I would have got rid of Derek too, because Derek literally laid out exactly what happened with Boston Rob being a traitor. He even threw Alan in it. He turned around in his seat and was like, I think this guy, pretend this is Alan. I think this guy brought him in as a traitor. He was spot on. It was pretty impressive. But I still am not like, I don't have a huge traitors boner from Derek from that move, because I don't like how he was coming after Sierra and saying because she used profanity that she couldn't be trusted or whatever. I'm still not over that. He said he uses that in interrogations. He's a police officer. Why the F are they teaching that to police officers? That makes me mad. I'm mad about it. But other than that, I like Derek. Okay, what else happens? All right, we're at breakfast. This is right after they find out that Derek is murdered. And Tom Sandoval, I said this in my post, I don't have hatred for him anymore. I just find him to be so hilarious for this game. And you know what? I guess I was wrong. I didn't want him to come on the show, but I'm actually glad that he did because this is like a perfect game for him. We can like hate on him in a healthy way. like I'm actually I've said this before during Scandival, like I'm still rooting for anyone who's on these shows, but it was hard with Tom in the setting that he was in on Vanderpump Rules season 11 or whatever the latest one was. In this setting, the Traitors, we get to see maggots dumped on his head. We're going to get to that. So let's just go through it. But I think he's so funny. Look he's bad at acting. So we know so much about Tom that it's really enjoyable to see him try to like figure things out. And like this is when he's convinced it's Boston Rob and he's so scared to like show his cards, but like he is showing his cards just by being Tom. So funny. God, I love this. I love this game. All right, let's move to the mission. Oh, wait, before we go to the mission, in addition to Tom Sandoval realizing that it's Boston Rob who's a traitor, there's a little female powwow outside. Sierra looks stunning as always, but Sierra is on to Danielle. And Caroline knows it, which Caroline could use to her benefit since she's like still mad at Danielle. And Danielle is not the best traitor. On the postmortem, I don't know if it's on Peacock or YouTube, the after show with Derek and Boston Rob was saying that Danielle is a bad traitor and just a bad player all around. I kind of agree with him. And also, speaking of Boston Rob and the postmortem show, he also said he would have never betrayed Caroline. Caroline or Caroline? He said he would have gone all the way to the end with her. But I wouldn't trust him. I'm glad he's gone. Okay. What else happened? Oh, this is also when Rob and Dylan are talking. Don't forget, Dylan has the biggest boner for Boston Rob. It's disgusting. It's offensive. It's awful to watch. But he tells Rob exactly what Derek told him the night before he died, how he said, Boston Rob is a traitor, and so is Brittany. But Dylan even says to Boston Rob, he's like, I'm not going to say your name, though, because he's a little biatch. Oh, my God, my cat is climbing up the wall. Come here, kitty. You want to sit with me? Oh, my God. Oh, gosh. I love how there's this one part where Tom Sandoval sits with Robin Dylan. They're trying to convince Tom Sandoval that it's Brittany or whoever, and Tom is just not having it. He's so set in his mind, and it's just funny to watch. I don't know. I'm not mad at Tom Sandoval being on the show. All right, let's move on to the mission. This is the worst mission to date. However, it also, I think, was the best episode so far of this season because the level of camp with the cast wearing all red, they looked amazing. It was just very theatrical. Alan was wearing all white with like red something, I don't know, flair, fascinators. It was just very camp, and I really, really enjoyed it visually. It kind of reminded me of season 2, episode 4, The Funeral. And which reminds me of that song that they were singing. And they're like, who's still in the funeral march? Does Johnny Banana trust the most? Like, we need more of those moments in this season, because I don't feel like season 3 is delivering the same way that season 2 is. And I know not everyone agrees with that, but that's just how I feel. That's my opinion. Yes, Max. Alan is always best dressed. I think they even said Chanel Ayan was not allowed to wear her dress that she wore on the after show. It was like upstaging Alan's outfit. So maybe they're like, yeah, get Chanel out of there. There's too much coordination with the wardrobe. Here we go. This is exactly what I was talking about. Look at him. Look at Alan. He has a veil on. He lifts it up and throws it over his head dramatically. Love it. Love it. Look at them. I want to have a birthday party. My birthday's coming up soon. I want to have a birthday party where everyone is dressed like this. I love it. Obsessed. Okay, so for this mission, they have to be in teams. And let's go to the teams. We have Sam and Ivor. So they had to put themselves into teams, and then Alan randomly chose who was going to go against who. So Sam and Ivor are a team, and they are going against Tom Sandoval and Dylan, who are a team. We had Boston Rob and Sierra as a team, and they were going against Chriselle and Dolores. We had Danielle and Brittany as a team. Remember, they used to hate each other from whatever show they were on before, Big Brother, but now they're teaming up. We love to see that. We have Danielle and Brittany going against Carolyn and Gabby. Okay. So I just, Haggis. That's all I could think about during this mission. I actually felt like I wanted to cry at one point. Like, literally, I would be awful at this mission. I would be Chriselle, because what they did was, and it's very dramatic how they go down this aisle to this box where they have to hold hands, and they have to keep their hands holding each other throughout, I don't know, for how many minutes? I don't know how many minutes, but I think it was like 8 minutes to get the prize money. And then there was like a limit to how long they would go as Alan kept bringing out gifts for them, quote unquote gifts. And so the gifts started with millipedes, haggis. I would have been haggis all day. Haggis. Chriselle and Dolores were done. Chriselle was not having any of it, and I don't blame her. After the millipedes, they had scorpions. Then they had like maggots being dropped on their heads. This episode reminded me, it's like a kind of a blend of season 2, episode 4, the funeral, and then the Haggis mission, where they had to go in the cabin and they had to like dig through all that. Like, it was very Fear Factor. I hate that stuff. No, thank you. Haggis. This is my Haggis hat. I live by Haggis since season 2. And you can get your own Haggis hat at bravoandblaze.com. I'll put the link in the show notes. But one thing that was good about this mission is we got to see Tom Sandoval suffer. It's hard for me to even look at this picture. Okay, we have to keep moving on. I can't. So After the maggots, they bring out a snake. They put snakes on everyone's shoulders. I felt so bad for Sierra. It was actually really sweet to see Boston Rob like calm her down, walk her through it, talk her through it. That was really nice, but also he's just out for himself. Oh my God, my cat is climbing on the wall. Come here. You wanna come here? Yeah, that was rough. I think everyone else handled it pretty well. Sam and Ivor, no problems. I'm surprised Sam didn't like look up and open his mouth to eat them. Like he was loving it. It felt like it was weird. Caroline really hated it. Gabby did really well. Okay, so who won? Let's see. Okay, so Sam and Ivor both got to the point where they got money into their pot or whatever, and they both won. So there were ties at the end for the people who both made it to the end. And that's when they had to like dig their hands in to find a ring. There were like maggots and worms and spiders in there, and they had to find it. So Sam and Ivor won the shield. Oops. Tom and Dylan won the money for the pot, but they did not win a shield. So they're up for murder. Rob and Sierra, I am so proud of Sierra, but that I can't believe they did this to her. Poor Sierra. They got the money and they got the shield. So I'm glad Sierra's safe. Chriselle and Dolores, they were out right away. They didn't get any money, no shields. They're up for murder. Danielle and Brittany won the money and the shields, which means Caroline and Gabby won the money, no shields. Okay, so let's go on to the round table. Brittany knows that she's going to be up for banishment. Dylan starts the conversation. He tells everyone what Derek told him because Derek was the last one who was murdered. And he explains, or Brittany actually jumps in because Dylan's not very good at like being aggressive. I feel like Brittany jumps in. She's like, okay, I can tell you're struggling, but Derek only said that because his ego was broken, and which is spot on because I said that on the last episode of Banished by Blaze. So yeah, that's true. And I think that helped convince everyone. But Sam calls out Rob. He goes, you're the obvious banishment. You have to explain yourself. This is when Sierra, don't forget, Sierra and Boston Rob were partners on this very traumatic mission that they just had. And I think the way that Sierra sticks up for Rob, she's like, no, she was like not having it. She was very protective of Boston Rob. And I think that the whole thing, knowing that he's a traitor, like this is a clear example of trauma bonding with somebody. Like she was ready to throw down for Boston Rob, even though he was a traitor. And I think simply because she had just gone through that moment with him, she's like, no, he's not a traitor. Very interesting human behavior. But Tom finally feels courageous enough to speak up and mention that Boston Rob is the one that got out Bob the drag queen. Dolores gives credit to Dylan for getting Bob the drag queen out. So she's not really feeling Boston Rob. But Tom is convinced it's Rob because it's so audacious. Only a level of audacity that only Tom Sandoval understands. He gets it. He's like, I know this. Game recognizes game. Tom Sandoval can totally see it. And I think that's hilarious. But he's like, he's got to be the traitor. Rob obviously has to speak up for himself. He's like, I am very calm because I'm innocent. And to me, that was red flag. Like, I feel like you're calm because you're a traitor. But he also tries to call out that there's no incentive for him to kill Derek because then it would just raise more suspicion on Rob. And why would he do that to himself? Again, Tom Sandoval clocked Rob because that's Tom Sandoval's game style. It's crazy. It's so funny to me that Tom's like, I understand this game. I know what game you're playing because I've done it before. I've done it my whole life. And we saw it on Manor Above Rules. Oh my gosh. Tom even tries to interject when Boston Rob is talking, and Rob shut him down real quick. But in Boston Rob's efforts, he turns the tables on Brittany and says she's the only person capable enough to pull a game move off like this of killing Derek and pinning it on Boston Rob. And he's like, it's a compliment. It's a compliment. Which is just so funny to me. I feel like he has nothing else in his bag of tricks. He's like, this is a compliment to you. This is me saying nice things about you, which is just too funny. As we know, well, I'll go through the roundtable votes. So first, Tom voted for Rob, obviously. Chriselle voted for Tom out of pure hate. Pure hate. She's just like, I think it's them. Brittany votes for Rob. Sierra votes for Brittany. Again, she's trauma bonded. She feels protective of Boston Rob, so she's going after Brittany. Dylan votes for Gabby. What a bitch boy move. He's like, I know it's Rob or Brittany, but I just don't want to vote for either. So he throws out Gabby. Zac Efron, please come get your brother. What the hell? That was so annoying. This is Pilot Pete again. My Traitors boner is going down. Caroline votes for Rob, which is a big move because she's a traitor. And her reasoning, she goes, I can't watch a gamer vote against another gamer. Again, enough with this gamer thing. Like, what does that even mean? So you have to have blind loyalty to other gamers? You're in a game. Everyone is playing a game. So ridiculous. Sam and Ivor both vote for Rob. Sam and Ivor are kind of like coasting through this. It's interesting to watch. Rob votes for Brittany. Again, thinks she's the only one smart enough to pull that move. It's kind of like a backhanded compliment because he's complimenting her while simultaneously slapping everyone in the face. You're not as smart as her. Danielle then votes for Rob. And Rob is done and knows, I mean, she knows Brittany is a faithful. She says that, but she's just over it. And that was the final vote that got him out. Even though Dolores still had to vote, she voted for Tom. And Gabby voted for Rob. This is why I like Gabby, because I think she's smart and I just really love her. But before Rob goes into the circle of truth, Gabby goes, I think he's a faithful, which I thought was weird. But Rob goes up there. He says he's a traitor. Tom Sandoval thinks that he did it. Like, he got Rob out. Like I said, Rob claims he would have went to the end with Caroline. And he thinks Danielle is a bad traitor, bad player all around. And like I said, he's not wrong. Not saying I don't like Danielle, but as a game player, I don't know. You're banished. Yay, Banished by Blaze worked. We got him out. We called it last episode. Yay. So after Circle of Truth, Dylan, he's like, I'm sorry. I admit I was blind. Like, no shit, Dylan. We know you're up Boston Rob's ass. You have shit on your nose right now, brown noser. Tom is insisting he knows Rob was using Dylan as a pawn. You know why he knows that? Because he knows that gaming style. Game recognizes game, I'm telling you. Slimy behavior. All right, so let's go to the turret. Don't forget, whoever is murdered gets murdered face to face. Whoever is up for murder has to walk down the aisle of a church where there's a coffin and they'll be murdered in plain sight. I don't know exactly what that means, but just to recap, in the turret, we have Danielle and Caroline. Danielle has a shield. It doesn't matter because they're the traitors. But here are the faithfuls remaining. We have Sierra, who has a shield. Let me make this bigger. We have Sam with a shield. Brittany's safe. Ivor's safe. Then they go to the very dramatic and cinematic scenes of these faithfuls walking down the aisle. And I just love it. Like, I want someone to do a video of me just walking down. That I'm going to manifest that. Okay. So walking down the aisle to be murdered, we have Chriselle, Dylan, murder. I say murder him. Gabby, no. Dolores, no. Tom Sandoval. I say keep Tom Sandoval. He's grown on me. Then they show this scene for the next episode where Caroline and Danielle are there with their hoods off, telling whoever that they're murdered. They like hand the person who's murdered a letter, a note, or whatever. So, wow. Who do you guys think should be banished? I know who I want gone. And I have two people that I want to discuss. So one, I'll go through who I think should be murdered. Dylan should be murdered out of the people that are available. If Brittany was available, though, I would say murder Brittany, but she has a shield. So just for the sake of the game, if I was a traitor, obviously, like if we're at the round table and you're a traitor, you want to get out a faithful. I mean, sometimes I get out a traitor, I guess, but I would be going after Brittany still because she is a good player. I think she could go really far if they don't get her out soon. So if they're not going for a traitor, they should get Brittany banished. That's just how I feel. Also, in the church scene, going back, don't forget, these are the people who are up for murder. Tom, Dolores, Gabby, Dylan, and Chriselle. So these scenes, these very cinematic and dramatic scenes that they have of them walking down the aisles, they go and they like say something. And I can't help but wonder, like, are they talking out loud for the cameras? And is this really their own thoughts? Or is it a script? And are the traitors listening? I'm very confused about this. Like, is it supposed to be like a last plea for their lives? What is going on? How does that work? I don't get it, but I hope they kill Dylan. Max thinks that Dylan will be murdered. Yeah, they should, right? But they're not that smart, Danielle. So who knows who they will take out? They might take out Tom just for like a decoy to throw people off. I'm not sure. So yeah, that's who we got. Ugh, I love this game. Tonight is a new episode 8. Oh, I love this show so much. We've come to the end of today's live stream. I want to thank you all for being here for Banished by Blaze. Please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a 5-star review. Until next time, faithfuls, stay lit.